Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're warlords vying for control and ideological dominance in the war-torn lands of Vitoria. Now you'll be building an army, earning their loyalty, influencing with leadership, and managing and leveling up your war camps. Warbonds, Battle for Vitoria, is for 2 to 5 players. It takes 1 to 3 hours to play, is for ages 14 and up, and published by Punk This Studios. Now it's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how it works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, and all the art and components you see here are prototypes. To see all the most up-to-date art and components, check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video. Here I have the battle map set up for 5 players. At the beginning of the game, each of you will select a warlord that is the leader of your army. Each of these warlords have an alignment, like evil, or good, or chaos, or law, or maybe even be neutral, and this will determine what types of units they'll be able to deploy in their army. Warlords have all sorts of different stats, like how far they can move, how many units they can attack, their initiative, and their health, which is extremely important. Because if you ever accumulate as much damage as your health, you are completely eliminated from the game, and one of the win conditions is to be the last person standing. And all these warlords are completely asymmetrical with many different abilities as well. Now your warlord will start on top of your war camp, which is also very important because you'll be moving this around, deploying units from it, attacking from it, and also trying to level it up. And over the course of the game, your war camp can get war tokens, and anytime you have 3, you'll be able to level it up. Now it's a level 2 war camp. If you're the first to get to a level 3, that's another immediate victory condition. But you must pay attention to the amount of damage it can take, because if your war camp is ever destroyed, that's another way that you're eliminated from the game. And remember, the last player standing wins. And as you level up, it'll get stronger, be able to recover more each round, be able to attack further out, and attack more per turn. The game is played over multiple rounds, and at the end of the round, the dragon will move. Certain events will happen. If there hasn't been a victory condition, by the end of the 14th round, whoever has the largest army is going to be the winner. Players will be taking turns in initiative order depending on that number on their unit. Each unit is going to activate a movement ability and an action ability. So they may be moving through roads, and moving into roads actually helps you move further if needed. And one of the abilities you can use for an action ability is to deploy units into some of these deploy wild unit spaces, which are actually harder to move through, but you can deploy into them. And there are a ton of different units you can deploy. And you could choose any of them as long as your alignment of good or evil matches up. Of course, neutral's good for anybody. And this Valkyrie has some melee and ranged attack abilities. It will deploy on one of your player markers, but it will come in disabled. Later on, towards the end of the round, it will get flipped over and it'll be able to activate next round. And since this Valkyrie has flying enhanced movement, and now it can move up from the ground to the sky to a different layer of the board, allowing it to pass through opponents' units, which usually you can't do. Now it can use ranged attacks to hit things on the ground, but it can't use melee attacks down there. But since this has flight as well, they could melee attack the Cabal. Different attacks do different types of damage, and sometimes you might even need to check for presence, which is how far you are from your warlord. Now there's many different types of damage like normal, magic, fire, ice, thunder, life, death, and acid. And that might change how much damage a warlord or unit takes. For example, this warlord has a vulnerability to death, meaning they take an additional damage. Or they might be immune to fire, or they might have a resistance to life damage, meaning they actually take 1 less. Now those non-warlord units are squads, and they're made up of multiple members, and this also shows their health. You'll be tracking damage like this, and if it ever gets all the way up to this, then that unit is dead. Now there are different resources in the game. Supplies will be used by units sometimes to spend to take certain action abilities. Also, when a warlord does an ability that has you check presence of how far different units are from it, those units can gain loyalty because they're inspired by that. Then at the end of the round, you'll be able to turn in loyalty from your different units. If you can turn 3 in, you'll get leadership. Leadership is also going to allow you to take and spend them to do powerful action abilities. And there's also other ways that you can gain or lose some of those resources in the game. Now sometimes a warlord might attack another warlord. Now these duels could possibly run multiple rounds, however your units can spend loyalty to interrupt them to help attack or block. Also, certain warlords, either the one attacking or the one that was attacked, can decide to end the duel, and if so, they'll be losing the duel and losing some loyalty. And the timing of bowing out might be important because remember, if your warlord is defeated, you're out of the game. After all the units have activated, then the war camps will activate in player order. Now the war camps can be on either side. During the encampment side, they'll be able to deploy units. And again, the level of it, if it's level 1, 1 away, level 2, 2 away, they can deploy new units. They can also provision, like they could provision the warlord here, which allow it to rest up to the recovery rate of that specific war camp. And that depends on the level of that war camp. Now they can also attack, again, 1 out if it's level 1 or 2 out if it's level 2. Or instead for a full turn you can convert it from an encampment side to the caravan side. Now next time you have to activate it, you can move now. Now it can move up to 4, it can also move through other units unlike normal units can. And it can move and attack, and so it can attack another war camp, it might also be attacking another unit. And you can even do that on the move, meaning move, attack, and then continue to move. Now after all the war camps move and many other round end steps, you'll end up moving this dragon to keep track of the round numbers, and something's going to be happening. For example, a war speech, where you'll get a leadership for your warlord, or you'll get a loyalty for each of your units, and then you'd start a new round. But these do different things, like gaining a leadership during the battle cry round. Persuade allows you to spend leadership to try to reduce the loyalty of other players' units. Or you might be going to the influence the public, where everyone is bidding a certain amount of leadership, and whoever bids the most gains 2 of those war tokens, which is important. Because remember, if you ever get 3 of these war tokens, you can level up. If you get to the level 3 of your war camp, you've won. Now again, as this goes around, if this ever gets to the end, whoever has the most armies will win. Otherwise, if you're the last one standing or get your war camp to level 3, you've won. Well, there you have Warbonds Battle for Vitoria, and as I showed in the overview, you're leading your army to one of 3 unique victory conditions, and you'll be managing your warlord, your units of squads, and your war camps. Now, if you'd like to see the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me right in the description of this video, and that's going to take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure that Punk Fist Studios would love your support.